Your boys in the house live from LA. A lot of NBA action going on, a lot of NFL action going on. Truth be told, it really doesn't matter. Because when I'm in LA, it's just a different flavor. I understand Molly Q gets that. Jay, it's a struggle, lady. It's a struggle back there on the East Coast, isn't it?
It's cold, man. You know it's cold.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Struggle's real.
I'm sorry to hear that. The struggle is real.
Absolutely.
For you, not for me. First takes in the hand. Let's roll.
The worst.
I just knew for a very long time this was a perfect fit.
I've really never been wide open like this in my life. So you got to make a decision. Do you stay on me or do you stay on them?
We're overly confident with the group that we have. We all have something to prove, or we have one common goal.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take on this Friday Eve. Jay Will gracing your screen. Good to see you, sir. Kendrick Perkins is going to be in the building.
For what?
I'm told.
For what?
And Ryan Clark also joining us.
No, I saw him.
There's a lot of NBA to get into.
I saw him in the hallway taking up space. You know what I'm saying? I had to go around the corner just to get to the bathroom because he was blocking the path.
Yeah, I heard he wants to address you like the numbers on the house. Isn't that his line, or did I screw that up?
Whatever. You probably screwed it up.
What? You're such a hater. I didn't screw it up. Well, I know carry on, and that's where I'm going now. Hey, Jay, great to have you with us. Let's get to it, guys. We're staying on the East Coast. A third straight stellar performance as a 76er for James Harden. How about them apples? Finished with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists in Philadelphia's 123-108 victory over the New York Knicks in front of a sellout crowd Wednesday night. His first game in front of fans in Wells Fargo Center. James Harden declared Philadelphia, Stephen A. It feels like home.
It was great, man. Just the excitement from the beginning of the game. You know, I felt the energy, I felt the love. So I wanted to just come out there and show my love back. And just wanted to play well on both ends of the ball, ultimately get the win.
I mean, we all just fit together. You know, you got someone in James that comes with his experience and, his playmaking ability, scoring ability. You combine that with, what he adds, and he's been amazing. And what we have on the team, he all fits.
Chemistry, no issue. Philly having fun, sitting 2 games back of the Heat for the top spot in the Eastern Conference standings. Stephen A., how excited should we be about Harden's Sixers start?
That depends on who you ask.
Well, I'm asking you.
If you ask the city of Philadelphia, they should be very excited. I mean, after all, you had Ben Simmons, who was not even in the arena, okay? And you replaced that with one of the greatest scorers in the history of basketball in James Harden. If you ask somebody like me, what's the big deal? And here's what I mean by this. Ladies and gentlemen, I would remind y'all that the Philadelphia 76ers are 3-0 since James Harden arrived.
Yeah.
Take away the opening night victory for him against Minnesota. And who did he play the last 2 games?
Why am I taking him away? The Knicks.
The damn Knicks.
Yeah.
The damn New York Knicks. I mean, am I supposed to be excited about that?
I don't know. You lost a bet about the Knicks. You had them going places to Jay Will.
I lost the bet. There is no way around it. I lost the bet to that man right there, Jay Williams. I owe him a suit. I actually have, not only did I promise to get him a suit, I promised to take him and get him fitted for the suit and damn near buy the suit. I mean, I've lost the bet. Now, if I lost the bet in April, late March, I wouldn't be this upset. But to be at Christmas time, Christmas time, we knew I lost the damn bet. January, the new year, I lost the bet. And February has been worse. And so I'm looking at it and I'm saying, the New York Knicks have now lost, 14 of their last 17 games. I don't know who the hell the schedule makers are. Do you know the New York Knicks have lost every single game their countdown has led into a New York Knicks game? 0-8.
Wait, time out.
0-8.
Time out. Is it like a black cat's running around since you joined Countdown? No. It seems like every time you do Countdown, they lose. It's like they're cursed.
Well, first of all, I want to give mad love to Mike Greenberg, Mike Wilbon, Jalen Rose. All of that stuff is true. But if you're going to talk about a black cat, just remember to mention that the ratings were up over
Oh, God. Here we go.
58%. So
Oh, God.
all I'm trying to tell y'all is to just put it in its proper perspective.
Okay.
Ain't no black cat.
Okay.
The black cat, the Knicks, not me.
No one said the show's not good.
All right,
No one said
the
we
show's
don't like
great.
the show.
The show's great.
We
But
just said
all
it
I'm saying-
happens to be when you do the show, the Knicks lose.
All I'm trying to say is that the New York Knicks are the team that went up against James Harden.
on, man.
Let's understand. We know how great he is. We know how phenomenal he is. We know that he's one of the most prolific scorers the game has ever seen. We have expectations. All I'm saying is, let's pay attention to who they're playing against if we're going to rave over the first 3 games. Because they were 35 and 23 before he arrived, okay? It wasn't like they were losing. They went in there a damn good team, and he makes them better. But they were playing the Knicks. Go ahead, Jim.
Number one, that has nothing to do with the 76ers, just about your Knicks squad. I thought Black History Month was supposed to be a month of celebration for you and us, Stephen A. But they gave you one win during the month of February. One win during the month of just one win. That's it. I just wanted to say that. Felt like it was a disservice to how we're supposed to be prideful. Anyway, I move forward. Anyway,
You're right.
I do want to address this because I think it's interesting to me that it wouldn't mean anything to you about what the Philadelphia 76ers have done. Last time I noticed, the Minnesota Timberwolves are in 7th place in the West.
They're a good team. They're a good team.
They are a playoff team. Last time I checked, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Lo, Anthony Edwards are guys that have been hooping as of late.
I didn't say anything about Minnesota.
A good win opening night. And yes, about
Good
the
win.
team that won 1 game in February, I can make the counter argument, Stephen A., that as a basketball player, a lot of times it's easy to play down to the level of your competition. It would have been easy for the 76ers to see the Knicks on their schedule and think, oh, okay, games in New York. Now think about it, for James Harden's perspective, right? What have been things people have been saying about James Harden? He goes out on the road, he's kicking it. Is he with little baby before a game? Is he really committed? How does his body look? He's out of shape. He's not really attacking. Oh, he has something wrong with his finger when he was playing in Sacramento, can't really play when he was with the Nets. All these different excuses that could have came to the situation. But no, when I look at James Harden's body, I'm like, how the hell did he lose 10 to 15 pounds already? My man looks chiseled.
In 2
he looks
weeks.
like he's ready.
In 2 weeks.
He's
Easy,
ready
cut
to
carbs.
play. He's ready to be here. By the way, he's averaging in his 3 games with the 76ers 27, 9 rebounds, and 12.5 assists. So
2 games against the
I
Knicks,
hear what
yes.
you're saying. Yeah, 2 games. I hear what you're saying about it doesn't mean anything to you. But from a basketball eye perspective, regardless of whoever their opponent is, the way it looks is the way it looks. And the way this looks to me and my basketball eye is that the pieces fit. Now, there's still questions around Tobias Harris. Can he become activated? Yeah, but what I'm seeing Tyrese Maxey do, how I'm seeing
will
this
you
team
stop
corral
it?
around them.
Come on,
SA.
It. Why
We're
don't you
going to find
stop
out about
lying
it when
to
they
the
play.
American public? You're lying
What
to
are you
the
ta-
American public.
Who's the
You
best
know
team in the Eastern
basketball.
Conference?
You know
Who's the best team in the
basketball.
Eastern Conference,
you
Stephen A?
You know excuse me, who's the best team in the Eastern Conference? Excuse me,
Yes.
last time I checked, Miami was the #1 team before they lost last night. Chicago's still there, Milwaukee's still there. And oh, by the way, we're talking about all of this stuff. We haven't seen Brooklyn yet, which is a story we will get into without question, because I got some questions about that. We haven't
Hold on,
seen
hold on.
Brooklyn on the court yet.
Time
So
out.
we
You
don't-
gave me
we
3
don't know.
answers. You gave me 3 answers. I said, who is the best team in the Eastern Conference? You gave me Chicago, Miami. Who's the best team in the Eastern Conference?
Well, right now, I would tell you Miami is, even after a loss to Milwaukee. I would tell you Milwaukee is as well. I understand you got James Harden with Joel Embiid. I'm saying to you, can we see them against competition? Let me go back to the Knicks for a
You
second.
just gave
'cause
me
brought them
2
up.
teams.
Hold on.
You gave me 2
Listen,
teams again.
because-
You give me
okay.
2 teams. You're
Okay.
not giving me 1. You're giving me 2. I never seen you
Miami.
flounder this way. Who's
Hold
the
on, time
best
out.
team in the Eastern?
Time out.
Okay.
I've said this on numerous occasions. The list is fluid.
Okay.
It's fluid, okay? It's going to move. It's going to move. We're
Floundering
going to
up
deal
a
with
bit.
it. The list is
Come
fluid.
on.
It's going to be fluid.
Lordy
It's
Lord.
going to be fluid, all right? Just like the MVP race. It's fluid. It's nothing definitive. It's fluid. But let's get back to the Knicks for a second here, because you talk about playing down to the competition. Okay, let me tell you this. I'm just going to go over the last, I'm going to go late January for you to now, okay? Charlotte didn't play down in the competition. Minnesota didn't play down in the competition. New Orleans Pelicans didn't play down in the competition. Cleveland Cavaliers didn't play down in the competition. Miami did it. Milwaukee did it. Memphis did it. L.A. did it. The Lakers, they did it. Utah did it. Denver did it. Portland Trailblazers did not. Oklahoma City did not. Brooklyn, without KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, did not. Miami again did not. And Philadelphia in back-to-back encounters did not. Nobody else played down to the competition when they went up against the New York Knicks. So why should we expect or throw a parade because James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers did it?
Because they won the games they were supposed to win. I've never heard somebody criticize a team or not look great about a team who gets wins. And it's the way it looked, Stephen A. I see how you dress every day. I may be going through the airport. I can't hear what's coming out of your mouth. I'm like, man, he is killing. He's animated on the camera. It looks right. It feels right. You're telling me that last night, regardless of whether them beating the Knicks or the Sacramento Kings, it didn't look right to you? That's what you're trying to tell me on national TV? It didn't look right to you?
I'm not trying to tell you it didn't look right to me. I'm trying to tell you. No, I'm trying to tell you that Philadelphia was a good team before he arrived. And what we're going to learn about the Philadelphia 76ers with James Harden in tow is who they're going to be when they go up against stiffer competition. What I am saying is we know he's great. We know Embiid is great. We know Doc Rivers is great. We know that's a damn good team. What we don't know is what they're going to look like when they go up against stiffer competition because the New York Knicks don't qualify as that. Now, that breaks my damn heart to say it. You my boy, so you know that breaks my heart to say it. All you did was provoke me to say the damn thing at 10 o'clock in the morning on national television because you wanted to get on my damn nerves to start the show because you know exactly what I'm saying is 1,000% correct. The New York Knicks are not the appropriate litmus test for the Harden-Embiid tandem that we're expecting to see because we know they're both great. We need to see them against stiffer competition because the New York Knicks at this stage does not qualify as that.
So you just said that the 76ers were already a good team without James Harden, correct?
Damn good team.
Damn good team. How good were they in the East? What does damn good mean to you in the East before James Harden?
They were like top four seed. Top four seed.
Oh, so now you're telling me adding James Harden doesn't make them a higher seed than that? I think
it can make them better. I expect let me be clear. I expect the Philadelphia 76ers to be in the conference finals.
Okay.
But I don't think they're getting out of the East.
Okay, so wait. If you're telling me that you already thought they were a damn good team, and now you're telling me they add James Harden, and you say to me it looks right, why are you worried about what it's going to look like against the upper tier teams when you already know what it's been like before they had a James Harden? Stephen, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, so we want to talk but not let me answer the question. I'm going to answer your question. The answer to that question is my expectations are what they are. If you've got Harden and Embiid, anything less than a berth to the NBA Finals, okay, that has to be it.
Yes.
I expect the Brooklyn Nets to be standing in their way. That's what I expect. Now, I'm hopeful.
Okay, let's go there now.
Now, I am hopeful. It's Miami for obvious reasons. But I expect the Brooklyn Nets to be standing in their way.
Can I get the call during the Eastern Conference Finals to come down and hang out with you guys? Please, if it's in Miami.
No,
please call me.
I won't
come
have
right
time.
Here.
I won't have time to hang out with you in South Beach. That won't happen. Okay. And I won't have time to hang out with you.
I don't want to hang out with you.
so
I'm already
rude.
with you
I'm
10
just so
hours a
inappropriate.
week.
I won't have time to hang out with any of y'all.
Your fedora, your cigar, South Beach, it looks right.
You know what, Jay? I don't even want to know. Let's just get to Brooklyn. All right. Which is still not whole. Kyrie Irving can still not play in home games in New York because he's unvaccinated. Good news, though, Kevin Durant expected back tonight. Can't wait for this game. Jay, are you going? Brooklyn hosting the first-place Heat. Before KD got hurt, the Nets were in second place, a half game out of first in the East. Now they're in eighth, 9 games out of first. Talk about impact. And on Monday, the Nets said Ben Simmons still has not been cleared for practice as he recovers from back soreness. He will not practice the rest of this week, and his timetable to return is unknown. Stephen A., what's the bigger story? Is it KD's return, or is it that Simmons is still not playing?
To me, it's KD's return. And the reason why I say it's KD's return, because, he's the man. When healthy, I believe that Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet. That's how I feel about him. And so because of that, I don't think it's a coincidence that the Nets went on an 11-game losing streak. the second that he went down. I don't think it's a coincidence that they were the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference when he was healthy, in spite of Kyrie Irving's sporadic availability because he wasn't there at home games and James Harden wanting out. They were still the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference when Kevin Durant was healthy. He goes down. Now they trying to make sure they can at least make it to the play-in game, okay? That's how lethal Kevin Durant is. And so when I look at it from that perspective, all right, and I look at the question marks that exist with Kyrie Irving and the vaccine mandate, with Ben Simmons, who is another matter, and as far as I'm concerned, it has become an atrocity. I'm sick of this stuff with Ben Simmons. I really, really am. Because, again, we want to be very, very clear and very, very mindful that we're not minimizing the importance of mental health issues. And I'm not even thinking, Jay, about what the hell he was going through while he was in Philadelphia. Here's what I do know. Since the brother has arrived in Brooklyn, with the exception of the very first game that took place after he got traded to Brooklyn, because he hadn't arrived in Brooklyn as of yet, he's been with the team for every single game. He's been on the bench. He's been slapping high fives. He's been congratulating everybody. He's been laughing up a storm. He's been looking phenomenal. And we know he's healthy because he hasn't played. No, he's physically healthy, so he hasn't played. Why the hell has this man not been on the court, not been cleared to practice, and all of this other? Something's up. Something's up. All of that stuff puts more of the onus on the shoulders of Kevin Durant when he comes back healthy, because we all know what he can do. He just has to do what we always know him to do. That's all I mean by that.
The answer is Ben Simmons for all those reasons you just stated, Stephen A. Mm-hmm. You know, you said that when KD was healthy, they were the #1 team in the Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. They also were the #1 team because they had James Harden on that team, who was giving them such a lethal scoring punch in games in which Kyrie couldn't play. So I got to tell you, I'm really worried about my Nets squad right now, because now Kyrie Irving is only playing on road games due to this new private sector mandate that nobody ever heard of until now all of a sudden we heard of and is a thing, #1. But now when you go to home games, now you're asking KD off the Achilles injury he had a couple years ago, coming back playing. It's the knee issue now to come back, and now just to be great, which he can be. But this is where you need Ben Simmons more than ever. And I'm worried about what Ben Simmons am I going to get if I'm going to get Ben Simmons. Because the Nets lose that scoring punch that they had with James Harden, and how Ben Simmons comes back and plays, in particular in home games in which Kyrie can't help offload some of the issues by scoring and his dynamic self that he brings to the table offensively. This is where you need Ben Simmons more than ever. And there's no time. I don't understand how there's not a timetable on him coming back to play. And, you know, it's lower back issues because he's working on his conditioning again. I hear all that, but it seems like the environment has changed. And now if there's any time that Ben needs to answer the call, it's coming up in these next couple of weeks. And they need him more than ever in order to help KD elevate. You can't have KD off his injury guarding the other team's best player. That's something that Ben Simmons needs to do, because you want KD's legs to be saved for the offensive punches you need at home, in particular at the Barclays Center.
Well, I think that we're confusing our points here, because I'm talking, the reason why I brought up KD is because we know Ben Simmons is not going to be available for the immediate future. And considering the fact that the Nets recently lost 11 straight, and now they've lost 15 of 13, and now it's 13 of 15 rather, and now it's 15 of their last 18 games, okay? And they're one game above 500 after being the #1 seed when KD was on the court. I'm saying because of the question marks about Ben Simmons, because of the continual question marks about Kyrie, who's only got 7 games left available to play on the road. The rest of them are supposed to be at the Barclays Center, and the vaccine mandate hasn't been lifted. That's where I'm bringing KD into the equation. I'm not disagreeing with your points about Ben Simmons, but the first order of business is for him to get on the damn court. And it's gotten to a point where we got to speak up about this. I mean, we really do. I mean, listen. I'm dicey about it. I know how sensitive you are about the subject, Jay. Mental health is a serious, serious thing.
Yes, it is.
And listen, there are people who don't believe him, and we've talked about that issue. I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there. Forget about what people believe. Forget about Philadelphia. He's in Brooklyn now. Here's my point to Ben Simmons. You're in Brooklyn. How is it that you're healthy, physically healthy to play basketball, and you're on the bench with new teammates in a new city, high-fiving, laughing, and having a good time, and traveling with the team? But somehow, some way, you can't put on a uniform. Pat Riley, in the book, Blood in the Garden, by Chris Aaron in the New York Times, the great job that he did with that book, right? He told a story of Pat Riley being in a locker room and a player walking in with his street clothes on. And Pat Riley said to him, with everything on the line, he said, if we desperately, desperately needed you, could you give us 3 minutes? And that player said, sure, I could do that for you. And Pat Riley said, then what the hell are you doing here with your street clothes on? Put on a damn uniform then. And my point is, we couldn't say that about Ben Simmons in Philly for the reasons that you and I discussed, Jay. But we can say it now.
Yeah.
You're in Brooklyn. You're happy. You're with guys that you want to be with a team that you're happy to be with. And your brothers need you. You smiling, high-fiving, dressed in street clothes. What the hell are you doing? Not to mention the fact, what damage are you doing to your contemporaries? Because the owners are going to remember this.
There you go.
They're going to remember this. They're going to look at that anytime these players are talking about their money and what have you, because you get paid now. The owner's going to be like, this is what we paying for? You to travel with the team. So they got to pay for his travel. They got to pay for his hotel room. You know he ain't paying for his own meals. They giving him some meals too. You're giving him a check to sit on the bench and smile when you're 100% healthy and ready to go. You got to be kidding me, man. That's why this is on KD in terms of what he's got to do. It's a damn shame he has to do it. But we got to stop glossing over this. This isn't Ben Simmons in Philadelphia anymore. He's in Brooklyn. He's in Brooklyn, smiling more than me and you.
I am on the same page with you on this. I don't know what that buffer time is that he needs. I would like some more specification for him about what his time frame is. I think that will be helpful to help people understand what it is he's going through. And once again, to echo your sentiment around the sensitivities of mental health, I get all that. I've gone through those places. But the one thing I recognize is that now you're asking KD off a knee injury to be prolific once again. And, people always say, oh, what happens to the second half of the season after All-Star break? I'm like, no. We're in the last third of the season. We're in a stretch now. We're in a sprint. So now you're asking KD to sprint to get back to where he was, before he got hurt. And you're looking at Ben Simmons saying, this is why we need you. And here's my thing, Stephen A. If your environment has changed, if the people you're around has changed, I need to understand, I think there will be more pressure on Ben Simmons now, and his teammates will start to look at him saying, what else can we do for you to help you get back on the court, to help us when we need you now more than ever?
Yeah, we got to go. Absolutely. It's crunch time. But according to the team on Monday, they said it's because of back soreness.
They're just protecting
Jay Williams.
They're just protecting Molly.
I'm just reporting the news.
I
Again,
you,
you make
Molly.
it, I report it.
He's scared, he's scared to play in Philly. I'm accusing him. He's scared to play in Philly March 10th. That's what this is about.
Jay will be back. Now we're going to bring in Ryan Clark because we want to get to some football here. Aaron Rodgers Watch 2022 continues. Outside of weekly appearances with Pat McAfee and lengthy IG posts, we haven't heard much on Aaron's much anticipated decision. Their GM said they've received no trade offers for Rodgers. Meanwhile, Coach Matt LaFleur is trying to give that bad man a little space.
You always want to be respectful because I know it's a lot to take on. He's got a lot to think about, and certainly I'm making sure that I consistently communicate with him, but also want to be respectful of his time and the process that he has to go through.
All right, Super Bowl champ Ryan Clark here with us. I'm assuming coming live from Indy. RC,
Yes,
good to see you. How we doing?
Doing
all over
well.
the combine
Good to see
stuff.
you. Good to see you as well. And Stephen A., you are right too.
Right.
He's such a traitor.
Do you think the Packers should be frustrated with Rodgers?
No, and you know why? Because the Green Bay Packers put themselves in this position. The Green Bay Packers allowed Aaron Rodgers to sit at the table throughout last year and even at the beginning of training camp and make his contract what it is going into 2022. They allowed him to have the responsibility or the privilege of making roster changes and roster moves. And now they've allowed him to hold this team hostage. And Aaron Rodgers is doing exactly what a great future Hall of Fame player should do. He's taking his time. When you have leverage, when you have the power as a player, it is incumbent that you use it. It is mandatory that you use it. And Aaron Rodgers shouldn't rush his decision for the Green Bay Packers. And I believe as well, that's why Matt LaFleur is taking the approach that he's taken. Matt LaFleur didn't look frustrated to me. Matt LaFleur looked patient. Matt LaFleur looked like a guy that understood and kind of felt that Aaron Rodgers would be back with the Green Bay Packers at the beginning of the season. So whether he makes that decision on Monday, whether he makes that decision on Friday, or if that decision doesn't come until April, the Green Bay Packers have no choice but to wait. They can't call Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, if you don't make a decision by tomorrow, we are cutting you. Because when you let him rework his contract, you knowing that his cap hit is going to be or was going to be what it will be in 2022, you should have been prepared for this. You should have been working your way to having all contingency plans in place to be ready to adapt and adjust based on Aaron Rodgers' decision. And so now you can't be surprised that he may be being selfish or that he may be thinking of himself because you allowed him to do it.
I feel where you're coming from, Ryan. I totally understand it. But I still think that they should be frustrated. You can put yourself in a position where somebody can exercise leverage, and that's true, but there's also something called an abuse of power. And I think that that's something that we have to look at when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, right now, we know how I feel about him. I think he's the baddest man I've ever seen at the quarterback position from a talent perspective. Certainly not the resume and results that the great like Tom Brady has. But in terms of his talent, Aaron Rodgers is the baddest that I've ever seen. And bad meaning good. And I got a lot of love and respect for him in that regard. The problem that I have is that I can't stand when people walk around acting like champions when they're not. And that's a big issue. I have no problem with Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers is just like this right now, Ryan. If he closed the deal, ended up at SoFi, handled their business, wins the Super Bowl championship and say, yeah, y'all treated me like garbage, y'all were disrespecting me, y'all weren't paying enough attention to the things that I wanted for years. Now it's my turn. I totally understand that. But that's not what happened. What happened is that he came up short in inclement weather at Lambeau Field against Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers, and he couldn't put 14 points on the board. He didn't lose 42-40 or something like that. Remember years ago when he lost a playoff game to Arizona and it was like bombs away and he dropped over 40 and they lost? No, his offense couldn't do anything. The Green Bay Packers, as horrible and awful as Matt LaFleur's special teams was, okay? A special team that he did not fix all year long. As horrible as that was, they still only ended up with 13 points at Lambeau Field, and you still couldn't beat them. And so for me, when that's what the backdrop is, I'm not saying that you don't take time to think about your decision or whatever the case may be, but it almost seems like you want the question marks. Do you want the storylines? This is why both you and I said, we done with this story.
Yeah.
Call us when you made a decision.
Yep.
We never said that about Tom Brady. By the way, Tom Brady, we're talking about that later on in the show because of some things going on with him. Tell us when we've been tired of talking about Tom Brady. You know why? Because he got it done. He got it done. But if somebody don't get it done, we don't like you walking around acting like you did get it done. And in the case of Aaron Rodgers, in the playoffs, I know he's the MVP, two-time reigning MVP. The numbers speak for themselves during the regular season. But despite back-to-back 13-3 seasons, all right, or actually 13-3, 13-3, 13-3, and then 13-4.
Yep.
All right, despite that, not one single Super Bowl appearance, let alone Super Bowl title, to show for it. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
Well, and I hear you, but we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, right? And the Green Bay Packers aren't necessarily paying attention to whether or not Aaron Rodgers has won a championship in the last 2 years. Because what they do know is for the last 2 years, he's been the best quarterback in football. And Aaron Rodgers knows that as well. The one thing I always say about football players or any athlete is you are an independent contractor. When Aaron Rodgers is thinking of Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers is making Aaron Rodgers decisions, he's making those decisions off of what Aaron Rodgers has done. And he's going to look at the 17 games that he played last season, and he's going to be like, you know what? In 2 of those games, I could have been better. I could have been better against the New Orleans Saints. I could have been better against the San Francisco 49ers. But for the rest of them, I was the best that they ever had out there. I was the baddest man walking in every stadium I was in. And that's the way Aaron Rodgers feels. And so when Aaron Rodgers is making this decision, he ain't making this decision like, oh, I didn't get a ring. He's making a decision that for the last 2 years, playing the position I play, the most powerful and the most meaningful, the most important position in football, I'm the best that's doing it. The Green Bay Packers know that, and Aaron Rodgers knows that. The Green Bay Packers knew that the first day of training camp when they allowed him to rework his contract. The Green Bay Packers also knew that when they said, you know what, we never promised Aaron Rodgers to trade because they know they can't get anybody better, Stephen A. Aaron Rodgers is operating from a position of power. You are right. And he may be abusing that power. But as a former player, as someone that was on the NFLPA executive board, I say good for him. They do it all the time. The teams hold the contracts, they hold the leverage, they hold the power, and they do with you as they please. No matter what that contract says.
Don't get it twisted. I'm not favoring the Green Bay Packers. I have no problem with them suffering. I'm talking about us having to talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. I don't give a damn about the Green Bay Packers. You absolutely right. They deserve it. You absolutely right. They deserve it for all the reasons. Yeah. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about me and you. That's what I'm talking about. You give a damn about the Green Bay Packers.
RC, we're up against it. I need a yes/no answer here. Do you think he stays in Green Bay, or do you think we get the decision part 2 where he sits down at the Boys and Girls Club and takes his talents elsewhere?
Listen, as sure as Mad Dog was tearing Stephen A. up yesterday, Aaron Rodgers will be the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers.
Well, first of all, Mad Dog got torn up, okay? He got me one good debate, but that's fine. Dead clock is right once or twice a day. But in the end, I think Aaron Rodgers is staying too because I think his options, Molly, his options, we're just looking at it out there, and it just, like, he can go other places, but it's not going to get any better than where he's at.
Real quick, what show did Mad Dog get torn up? You joined him on radio or something?
First Take.
Oh.
I know you can act like that.
Oh, Molly. Shots fired.
You know what I'm saying?
RC, get some good steak out there in Indy.
Maybe I need to host First Take, since I would recall. All right, but it's all right.
Okay, Rye, you're actually back with us, so don't have steak. It's maybe steak and eggs. Still to come on First Take, we all heard where Stephen A. has Steph Curry on his all-time list yesterday, but would he rather have him? And Jeff Passan, MLB Deputy Commissioner Dan Hallam, and Players Association attorney Bruce Myers meeting today in New York will mark the first meeting since MLB canceled the first week of regular season games Tuesday. We will continue to monitor this story throughout the day on ESPN and ESPN.com. To the NBA, John Morant making a strong case for MVP. Memphis in action tonight in Boston. The Grizz are third in the West, just a half game behind second place Golden State. Speaking of the Warriors, Steph Curry also knows how to steal the show. Meanwhile, the Dubs facing the Mavs, who are getting hot tonight. Golden State falling off of late, eagerly awaiting the return of Draymond Green and James Wiseman. Jay Will back here with us. Jay, who would you rather have down the stretch? Would it be Steph Curry or John Morant?
So Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter of all time, the greatest shooter that I think the game has ever seen. But I think it's important to decipher these moments between clutch and the greatest shooter that we've ever seen. Because typically when you're in clutch moments, you're facing double teams and the degree of difficulty with the shots become way more drastic, right? So when you look at the numbers for this year, Stephen Curry shooting 32% from the field in clutch moments, 19% from the three-point line in clutch moments. Now, I know the body of work for Ja Morant is not the same sample size that it is for Steph Curry, right? We've seen Steph Curry win championships. We've seen him in big-time playoff games. We just saw Ja Morant make it to the playoffs for the first time in his career last year. But there is something about the clutch gene for me. Now, Stephen A., there's no statistics that can prove this will be better, but there is something about his ability to create shots off the dribble and his ability to finish at the rim. I think the variety, because of the versatility in the ways he can score, right? Off the bounce, the dynamic ability he has to finish over the top of people, how he's able to knock down the three better this year than he has before, is Ja Morant. I just think Ja Morant he has a slight edge for MVP for me. Now, you can argue with me that deserves to be given to Joel Embiid or that deserves to be given to Nikola Jokic, and all those are reasonable arguments. But for him to have this team in a position to be third best in the NBA, only a game or two behind the Golden State Warriors, and I think you're starting to see the Golden State Warriors without Draymond Green, how much that means to this team is a huge loss in Steph's ability to get his shot off in those clutch moments due to his passing ability. I look at what Ja Morant is doing with Memphis, and I look at the components they have around him, I look at the way and the moxie he's played with this year. I would pick Ja Morant over Stephen Curry right now for clutch moments to get it done down the stretch.
Ja Morant is a superstar in the making, blossoming before our very eyes. I think that the Memphis Grizzlies have a shot to be the #2 seed in the Western Conference. I have no issue with anybody that would put Ja Morant #1 in the MVP race right now because of what we've seen from him over the last week or so. Still DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, they're all in the race. And I think that especially the first four in terms of DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, Jokic, I think that when you take into account everything that's been transpiring with these guys, I definitely think that it's a nip and tuck. The list is fluid. It's going to continue to move for the rest of this season as we race to the playoffs. But I ain't picking no damn Ja Morant over Steph Curry. I'm not doing that because Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just not doing it. Now, I'm saying this recognizing that from the field and from three-point range, these are the lowest numbers we've ever seen in Steph Curry's career. I'm saying this knowing that. So why would I do that? Well, there's something to be said for trying to, matriculate Klay Thompson back into the proceedings. You got to get him going. You got to be a bit deferential. There's something to be said about being smart enough to be out on the court but still saving yourself because you've been to 5 straight finals and you are a 3-time champion and you know what's required in the postseason. So it's important for Jordan Poole, Toscano Anderson, Peyton II, and others to really get into the mix because you're going to need these brothers down the stretch, especially with Memphis and Phoenix looking the way that they've been looking. There's also something to be said about the ultimate playmaker being out for more than a month now in Draymond Green. And so when you look at it from that perspective and his ability to set up Steph and Klay, not to mention how he elevates the team defensively as well and what he brings to the table on both ends of the floor and how easier the game is for Steph Curry and others when Draymond Green is out there. When we're talking playoffs, when we're talking, like if you're talking to me about MVP, Steph ain't nowhere near it compared to Ja Morant right now. Totally understand that. But if you're talking playoff time, well, playoff time, all of those pieces that we're talking about that they're devoid of in Golden State are going to be addressed by then. And so when I look at Memphis right now, I'm seeing what I'm seeing. And I expect them to be incredibly formidable and Ja Morant to lead the way, being the star that he is. And I definitely saw him elevate his level of play come postseason time. I'm not underestimating any of that. But I also expect to see the better version of Steph Curry, which we have seen in the past once he got all of his horses available to him. That's going to be playoff time. And that is why I would go with Steph instead of Ja Morant.
Who on the Memphis Grizzlies has the talent caliber of Klay Thompson?
Who on the Memphis Grizzlies has the ability to shoot? Nobody can shoot like that.
Okay.
Nobody.
How about Draymond Green? Maybe you can compare Dillon Brooks.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you compare guys.
So what I'm looking at is you saying that due to Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, those pieces, that help Stephen Curry in those moments because it relieves the pressure. And what I'm saying is on the Memphis side, if you're telling me you're talking about guys like Desmond Bane, even though he's playing well, Mallet, if you're talking about Jaren Jackson, if you're talking about slow-mo, relieving the pressure for Ja Morant, the ball's in Ja Morant's hands all the damn time. He's making plays left and right. Now, I'm not saying that diminishes Stephen Curry's ability to make plays.
Right.
I'm just saying I think it's interesting with this argument because can you take me through a list of those clutch moments that really make you trust Steph Curry down the clutch?
I think that's great. You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I think that's incredibly unfair to Steph Curry. Steph Curry, I'm going to tell you why. Because, yes, you have Klay Thompson who can also shoot the ball. You've had a situation where Golden State has been so explosive. There's been many, many blowouts in postseason action. They just take you out of the gym. You see what I'm saying? So many people are talking about, and they're judging Steph by clutch moments, just like we judge James Harden by clutch moments. Well, last time I checked, these brothers are averaging better than 26 a game in the postseason. They didn't nosedive and fall off the map. They didn't sit up there and play like scrubs. They didn't show, they didn't do what they did in a regular season at times, and I get that. But there have been some explosive playoff performances by Steph Curry.
Yes, they have.
We've seen that. And so all I'm saying is, when I look at it from that perspective, and I'm thinking about how much better they're going to be once they have their horses. Yes, Steph might have somebody else to be deferential to because if Klay gets hot, you keep feeding him. We get all of that. We understand that. The flip side to it, however, I'm leaning on his abilities and his experience, and I'm not judging by what I'm seeing right now. To some degree, you have to be honest. Even though you're looking at Ja Morant and Memphis like everybody should be looking at them, and you're giving them their props where it's due, you're also looking at what you're seeing from Steph during this season as the litmus test to decide who you will and would not want. I'm saying I'm ignoring what I'm seeing now. I don't care what I'm seeing now from Steph Curry. As long as Steph Curry is healthy come playoff time and his teammates are healthy come playoff time, I am not concerned. I truly am not.
I understand that. And look, I love Stephen Curry. I wish in all the ages of basketball, I can shoot the rock like Stephen Curry could shoot from the distance he shot the ball from. We've never seen anybody in the history of the game do something at the level he's done it. But what I'm asking you, Stephen A., is to go into the history books of that incredible, beautiful Russell Crowe mind of yours, right? And tell me about those clutch moments where you're like, that's when Steph came through.
I'm Googling Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, Beautiful Mind. Russell Crowe, Beautiful Mind. It's the movie.
Beautiful
Mind movie reference, yes.
Got you.
Yes.
Sorry, I
he
didn't
does
explain
have
that
a
properly.
beautiful mind. Now I get it. I was thrown off for a second.
I don't have those because I saw Klay drop 41 against OKC. Okay. I've seen plenty of instances where we wanted Steph Curry to step up and somebody else did it. So you're absolutely right. But I've also seen games where, guess what? We said, okay, could it have been a final moment for Steph? Sure. But he had 35.
Okay.
And he shot 50% from the field. And he shot 40% from three-point range. I'm just saying, these are all a part of it.
Russell Crowe, we're out of time. I just want you to know, in clutch time this season, you have lots of nicknames. I prefer just Stevie.
It's
but
beautiful,
I still haven't gotten permission to just call him Stevie. Only Mad Dog can. All right, in clutch time this season, Morant has better percentage in points, field goal percentage, and three-point field goal percentage. So I just wanted to help bolster Jay Will's argument there. Still to come on First Take, Batman and Robin, peanut butter and jelly, Harden and Embiid. They look like the match made in heaven, but someone on this set.
Hey man, just the excitement from the beginning of the game. I felt the energy, I felt the love. So I wanted to just come out there and show my love back. And just wanted to play well on both ends of the ball, ultimately get the win.
I mean, we all just fit together. You got someone in James that comes with his experience and his playmaking ability, scoring ability. You combine that with what he adds, and he's been amazing. And what we have on the team, he all fits.
One word, chemistry. Philly now sitting just 2 games behind the Heat for the top spot in the Eastern Conference standings. Jay Will still here. And look who's here. What a treat. Kendrick Perkins. It's good to see you, sir. It's great to have you here with us.
Good to see you as well, Molly, as always. And you know what? First of all, I want to send my condolences and tell you I feel sorry for your loss having to cover the Lakers game coming up. All right, I feel sorry for your loss. That's the first thing. Second of all, I came on here, Molly, because on February the 11th, both of my bald-headed brothers, Stephen A. and Jay Will.
Damn, I'm bald-headed now.
Damn, wow, you don't put that on SA?
Uttered some words that made my skin crawl on February the 11th. Jay Will was on the get up, and he said that Daryl Morey got fleeced. Stephen A. then doubled down on this show on First Take and said Daryl Morey got hosed, okay? And I'm sitting up here saying to myself as I'm watching both of my brothers that I love so dearly, what the hell are they talking about? And the fact of the matter is this, right? Y'all both were 100% wrong, and y'all still 100% wrong. And before I dive into my facts, I would like to give y'all both an opportunity to backtrack and say y'all was wrong before I address y'all like the numbers on the house. Go ahead, Stephen A.J. Y'all want to backtrack on those statements?
Sounds like February the 11th was a rough day for y'all.
Okay, cool. Nobody was standing on.
Hold on, I'll answer it. Hell no. I meant exactly what the hell I said. And I'll say it again if you want me to. I ain't stutter. I don't know who you think you are rolling up in here acting like you gonna get me to change my position. I have not changed my position one bit. Now go ahead and make your point, and then I'll deal with you. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's
Perk,
the thing.
I'm in between, Perk. I'm in between. I just want to say that on the record.
Okay, cool. Because here's the thing.
You happy being a waffler?
I'm not.
Going to IHOP next?
I love IHOP. What do you think?
I know. I do too.
I do three stack, baby.
Obviously, I do too, right? But listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Daryl Morey gave up 2 role players, one that is on a veteran minimum, and one in Seth Curry, who's one of the best shooters in the league, but could be replaced. 2 first-round picks, and a guy that we don't know is committed to the game of basketball. A guy that you and Jay Will was just at the top of this show questioning whether or not his commitment to the game of basketball. And I'm here to say, I don't know if Ben Simmons loved the game of basketball. I don't know if he loved it. I know he loved everything that comes with the game of basketball, but I don't actually believe that he loves the game of basketball. So for y'all to say that Daryl Morey lost in this trade when he got what he wanted, when Ben Simmons wasn't there and wasn't available, and you get back an MVP caliber player, it's concerning to me. And Stephen A., you saying, oh, we had a sample size. They played the Minnesota Timberwolves. They played the New York Knicks. But look, before James Harden got there, the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Bulls. They beat the Warriors. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They beat a long list of teams that are above the 500, including the Miami Heat. And all of a sudden, you add James Harden, and you still have questions.
Are you going to give us time to get back at you?
Finish eating your carrot.
You gonna give us time to get back?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead.
Big Perk.
You
Big
first,
Perk.
Jay.
Thank you, SA. Big Perk, let me ask you a question. Who is on Philadelphia's bench?
You said what now?
Who is on Philadelphia's bench?
I mean, you got Shake Milton. I mean, you have Nang, who's an underrated 3-point shooter.
Cork Mars. I'll give that.
You have Cork Mars. You have a potential big 4 that you could rotate, so you don't really have no drop off.
Big 4? You just said a big 4?
I mean, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Tobias Harris is getting paid like he's part of a big 4. So at the end of the day,
like one.
Yeah, and Tyrese Maxey is playing.
Maxey's been putting up 20 in the last 3.
Preach, Molly.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jay Will. Go ahead.
Well, I hear that, but you guys, the 76ers sacrificed a ton with the depth of their team. So what I'm saying is you're thinking about right now, Perk, and I get it. Right now, I think there are a lot of questions around Ben Simmons and where he is and what that timetable is. But what I'm trying to tell you overall in the bigger scheme of things, when Kyrie Irving is allowed to come back and play full-time, and I know your stance will be it always will be something with Kyrie, but when he is allowed to come back and play full-time, combined with Seth Curry, combined with the depth that they got with Andre Drummond, combined with the draft picks, even if they're later first round, that they can use as bargaining chips, and they didn't have no draft picks forever. Combined with all that, with Ben Simmons, I think the depth that you've given the team now is for the next 3 to 4 years. That actually, I think if they were at full health, if the 76ers saw the Nets at full health, that would be a problem for the 76ers. So I still stand on my mark in that regard.
That's part of my argument, but I want to be far more profound. and far more conspicuous, rather. Conspicuous is more of an appropriate word. Conspicuous with this. Kendrick Perkins, could you do me a favor, please? Could you get up? Could you get up and come on over here, Kendrick Perkins? Come on up here, man. Come on over here. Come on up here, man. Just come on up here, man. Come on up here, right? Okay? I want to show you, Kendrick Perkins, what I mean. Come on over here. Now, I want you to stand right here in front of me.
What you got
I
going?
want you to stand right here in front of me. Now, Kendrick Perkins, if you're posting, come on over here and on the audience.
You look like a peanut.
Now watch this. You're posting me up, right?
Right.
Now let me ask you a question. Yo, Jay, what chance in hell do I have of stopping Kendrick Perkins? Can you even see me? Can you even see
I cannot.
me?
No.
You have zero chance.
You're miniature.
Zero chance.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? You're Joel Embiid and James Harden. I'm the Knicks. And that's what you're judging me on. That's all he's done. Listen, we know that James Harden is a superstar. We know that Joel Embiid is a superstar. We know that the Philadelphia 76ers are a damn good team before James Harden even arrived. What we don't know, Kendrick Perkins, is when when Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving are on the court with KD, Patty Mills, Seth Curry, with Andre Drummond and all of these boys, what we don't know is what they're going to be. So what I'm saying to you about Daryl Morey did a damn good job getting the Sixers better with James Harden.
Okay.
My issue is he made Brooklyn stronger. That's why we said, hold on. That's why we said he got holes, because he empowered Brooklyn, and we don't know whether that's true or not until you see Brooklyn. You can't watch James Harden against the New York Knicks and think that, oh my God, didn't I tell y'all? We got to see what Brooklyn is.
I just wanna know, from a guy that loves guys that shoot the basketball.
Yes.
How all of a sudden you have so much trust in Ben Simmons?
No.
Because
not as a shooter. As a playmaker.
As a defender and a playmaker, 1,000%.
Hold on.
Come on back over here.
Come on over here. Time out. Because first of all,
you felt small.
Ben Simmons.
I was small, like the Knicks.
Ben Simmons. The last time we saw Ben Simmons, it was horrible. It was disturbing to watch. And Jay, you had the audacity to blame Doc Rivers about Ben Simmons and his production and not putting him in position to be successful. The only thing I blame Doc Rivers for is not sitting Ben Simmons on the bench. But because all the Philly fans and all you want, because all the Philly fans and everybody around the league believes that if Doc Rivers would have put Ben Simmons on the bench last year, that they would have won that series against the Hawks, because Tyrese Maxey was actually playing better than him. He was actually doing the things that they needed him to do. And let's get buckets.
But I got to get back at you at this. This is the part. Hold on, Jay. I'll come to you.
Okay, all good.
This is the part that you're missing. Again, we talked about Daryl Morey. You just finished bringing up Tobias Harris and what he's getting paid and what you're looking for from him. What I'm trying to say to you is you got question marks. You got question marks. When Jay asked you that you know basketball backwards and forwards, okay? You had to pause for a second to remember who the hell they had on their bench. You know that Tobias Harris, we know that he's got to step up, and because it's an adjustment with James Harden being there now. And I'm saying combine that with this. When we talk about Ben Simmons didn't have snipers. He had brothers who could play, but he didn't have snipers. But when you look at KD, you look at Kyrie, you add the Patty Mills to the equation, or Seth Curry to the equation, you're in a situation, if you're Ben Simmons, you don't have to think about shooting. And that's his Achilles heel.
When is he going to play?
I agree with that.
He is.
That's
When is he going to play?
I agree with that.
If he was afraid last year in the playoffs.
But you brought up February 11th.
Okay.
When you brought up February 11th, we didn't know that the brother was going to be sitting out right now talking about, my goodness, you know what, I'm not ready to play it. We didn't know that February 11th.
You know what? You a lie and the truth ain't nowhere near you.
What?
Because you know the history behind Ben Simmons. Don't sit up here and sit back like you don't. Hold on. Do you not know about you're heavily invested into the Philly?
I know a lot. I know a lot about Philly and great sports town.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about the same concerns about Ben Simmons and his love for the game of basketball?
Never.
You never heard that?
No. No. I'm saying you're totally right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Of
You
course,
ever heard about Ben Simmons' work ethic? About his off-season training?
All true. All true. But what I'm saying to you is this. February 11th, because that's why you started off this conversation. You're saying we didn't know. Here's what we do. Here's what we believed. We believed that a lot of people were making sense when they were questioning the legitimacy of his mental health issues.
Right.
We said the second he gets to Brooklyn, okay, you got KD and the crew there. You're going to sit up there and you're going to be ready to play because you just wanted out of Philly. What we're seeing now is an organization that I am personally accusing of protecting Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons is scared to play in Philly March 10th.
Right.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that. And that's where I'm at with
and Molly, and Molly, Jay Will, Stephen A., guess what? Here's my whole point of addressing y'all. See, I didn't never say that Brooklyn didn't win, but I didn't say Philly didn't win either. And I wasn't going to say that Daryl Morey got fleeced for the simple fact that when you look at what he did, he stood his ground. We knew that he could have traded and got C.J. McCollum and some other offers out there. He stood his ground. He let Joel Embiid and Philly do what they did, and he landed James Harden. He took them from the Nets.
Okay.
Big Perk, all I'm going to say that, first off, I never blamed Doc Rivers. I just said there was culpability for Doc Rivers when you're up 18 or 24-point games in games where you have to win, right? That's number one. Number two, I hear everything you're saying. I think it makes a lot of sense. But I will go back to Stephen A's point. There is something, I remember Dwight Howard one time, and Dwight Howard is nowhere to the level offensively skill-wise as Joel Embiid is. Joel Embiid is probably the best center the game in basketball has ever seen with his skill set, his ability to score. But I remember when Dwight Howard was like, oh yeah, me and James, we're unstoppable. All I'm saying is I am very curious to see how James Harden handles things when it gets really, really tough. Now, I know he said he's the greatest teammate of all time. He's made mention of that twice over the span of the last 3 or 4 years. But we've seen how James Harden is in the honeymoon phase, when everything is lovey-dovey. I'm just curious to see how he will react when things start to get really tough and they start to face some adversity due to their lack of depth. That's my question.
I think he has unconditional love for Philly right now. That's my takeaway.
Sure. Well, Philly, understand that Philly, as a guy that worked in Philadelphia for 17 years, I know the city backwards and forwards. It's a phenomenal sports town. Understand what James Harden is enjoying, something that almost no one in Philly has ever enjoyed, because the disdain for Ben Simmons is so real. Okay, it's one thing for you to be great and they root for you because you're great and you go on the court and produce. But for you to be as good as James Harden, as great as James Harden, piggybacking off of what Ben Simmons, what they've been through with Ben Simmons since last June, him basically saying, I don't want to be there. The love they're showing for James, they're appreciative of James Harden for just being out on the court, just showing up on the court when tip-off time arrives. That's how happy they are with James Harden.
Fair enough. Caesar still has the Nets, then the Bucks, then the Sixers with best odds to win the East. Jay Will, thank you so much for being with us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, you okay? I'm just saying.
Still to come on First Take, drama in the desert. This is your ESPN analyst Louis Riddick interviewed this week in Indianapolis for the Steelers GM job per league sources. So let's talk Pittsburgh with our Steelers fan and our Super Bowl champ with the Steelers. Where's Ryan Clark? There he is. Hi, Ryan. Welcome back. I'm going to start with you here, Stephen A.
Yeah.
What's your reaction to Louis's interview with your team?
I have a lot of fun doing First Take. I enjoyed thoroughly doing this show. We're number one in the mornings. We've been number one for 10 years, and we owe our support to all the fans out there that watch it. And me personally, I owe it to you, the exceptional job that you do, to Ryan, the exceptional job that he does with all the folks that have contributed to this show. I can't thank y'all enough. One of those people happens to be Louis Riddick. Louis Riddick is one of the great football minds that exist in the NFL today. And I think that it's a moment to step back and to pause and to recognize who the hell this man is. Yes, he has been involved in football for decades. Yes, he's been an executive in pro personnel departments and things of that nature. We understand that. And now he's a voice on Monday Night Football. We get that too. Louis Riddick is incredibly knowledgeable, very much connected, and incredibly thoughtful and thorough at his damn job.
Yep.
When you come on the air with Louis Riddick, you better have two options available to you. You better know what the hell you're talking about, or you better be willing to step back and listen to the knowledge that this brother is going to drop. This is what he brings to the table. And by the way, Ryan, he ain't alone, because I consider you one of those people. I often look at you and wonder why the hell you still on television, as opposed to being in the front office department, because you talent evaluate better than most folks. You definitely know the game inside and out, and you're thoughtful as well. But Louis Riddick is a special brother. And I would say to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because I've been a lifelong fan. The first football game I ever saw in my life was the Immaculate Reception. That's how I became a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And I would say to the Pittsburgh Steelers, when you think about Louis Riddick, think about Mike Tomlin in this regard. You gave him an interview, but how much did we really know about Mike Tomlin? How much did we really appreciate about Mike Tomlin? What were we thinking when we were thinking about the successor to Bill Cowher? Mm-hmm. We weren't thinking much. And the Pittsburgh Steelers stepped out of the box, and they hired this brother named Mike Tomlin, who very few knew about, certainly didn't have an acclaim with him or anything like that. And Mike Tomlin proceeded to win a Super Bowl championship, go to 2 Super Bowls, and in 15 years on the job, never have one losing season. I'm saying to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think that's the potential that you have on your hands with a great football mind and a thoughtful person and a beautiful human being that is Louis Riddick. If Louis Riddick and Mike Tomlin are working together for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I can't even tell you what I can fantasize about as it pertains to what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do into the future. I sincerely hope that they do what the Giants were stupid enough not to do.
Yeah.
And that's high. They should have hired Louis Riddick instead of Gettleman.
That's right.
That's what I'm hoping for Louis Riddick.
Don't forget, Brian Flores is there too. RC?
Yep. No, I think when you look at the Rooney family and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've shown over and over again that they are going to hire who they believe is the best man. No matter the color, no matter the background, it's all about, can you get the job done? And Louis Riddick is a guy and a man that can get the job done. Louis Riddick was a player. He's obviously been a scout. He's been the head of the pro personnel department in Philadelphia. So he's someone that has done the job. But I think much like John Lynch, we got an opportunity, or even Mike Mayock, you get an opportunity to see inside the mind of a Louis Riddick when we see him every day on TV, whether it's breaking down and being the color analyst on Monday Night Football, or if it's Get Up, or if it's First Take. And you're asking him questions about team building. You're asking him questions about player evaluation. There is no one with more knowledge, but more than that, there's no one that communicates that knowledge better than Louis Riddick. And so when he gets an opportunity to sit in front, I'm not sure if Kevin Colbert can be a part of these interviews, because that will be his successor that will be named. You know, they have a guy, Omar Khan, who's been there for a long time, who I'm sure will be interviewed as well. I don't believe there's a more qualified candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers GM job, a good enough job where he deserves money, then that's separate from Kyler Murray. The same thing with GM Steve Keim. Kyler Murray is a guy that's going into his 4th year. Kyler Murray is going to get paid. But also, I think this is the team taking a stand against the way Kyler Murray and his agent have approached this deal. The way that Kyler Murray and his agent have done business this offseason so publicly. Now, have the Arizona Cardinals been in the right by leaking things and allowing things to come out about their young quarterback? Hell no. But this also doesn't signify that they've gone about doing these deals in the wrong way, right? Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury actually have the same agent. And so he's a guy who on both sides of this is trying to get his coach paid and trying to get his player paid. You get the coach taken care of now because there are going to be more nuances and more things to work out in Kyler Murray's contract. There's going to have to be the incentives, the guarantees, how these guarantees play out, how much you count against the cap each and every year, because in doing Kyler Murray's contract, you also have to figure out how you can draft and bring in free agents in order to win football games and not look like you looked against the Rams in the playoffs. I don't think this is a situation where it's a bad look. I think this is the organization sending a message. We stand behind our guys, as in the GM and the head coach, because we feel they've gone about their business the right way. Kyler, you go about your business the right way, and you get the money. It's not a bad look. It is sending a message. I'm just not sure if it's a message that the Murray family and his agent will receive very well.
This is my problem with what you're saying, Ryan. It might not be a bad look. They're sending him a message. I think the fact that they're sending him a message is a bad look.
Okay.
And that's the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying.
I get that.
The fact that they're sending him a message, to me, is the bad look. Let's analyze this for a second here. What has Cliff Kingsbury done that Kyler Murray hasn't done?
Yeah.
I don't hear any rumors about Cliff Kingsbury. I don't hear anything about his attitude. I don't hear anything about his approach. I don't hear anything about him turning people off and all of this other stuff. Now, I will pause when Larry Fitzgerald Sr. comes out and says what he said, because we all know that you can't find, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody with a better reputation and better integrity than his son, Larry Fitzgerald Jr., one of the best human beings we've ever seen in the history of sports.
True.
I mean, this is a special, I love Larry Fitzgerald Jr. He's a special brother, and his father, obviously being in our industry, you know, we've ran across one another on many, many occasions because he's a newspaper reporter. He knows a thing or two. He's got his sources. His son doesn't have to be his source. He's got enough sources because he's covered the NFL and he's covered sports for many years. And he is highly respected and revered by us who know a thing or two about the journalism industry. But even with all of that being said, the bottom line is we're not talking enough about Kingsbury. Mm-hmm. He was hired and attached at the hip for Kyler Murray. If the Arizona Cardinals were not going to draft Kyler Murray with the #1 overall pick, chances are Cliff Kingsbury would not have been the head coach.
Yep.
And if he wasn't the head coach in Arizona, he wasn't going to be the head coach in the NFL because nobody was thinking about him. He's down at Texas Tech. He hadn't coached on the NFL level. He was never confused as being Nick Saban, Dabo Swinney, anybody
he got fired
else.
From Texas Tech, actually.
There you go. You understand? Two bowl appearances in 6 years. That's right, and he failed up. So when we look at it from that perspective, the fact of the matter is, any issue that involves Kyler Murray, all I'm saying, Ryan, is as ownership in Arizona, I'm saying, Cliff, come here. What about you? Mm-hmm. That's why we brought you here. That's why Keim got rid of Steve Wilkes, a veteran in the NFL, after 1 year.
Yeah.
And in the same, I'm an owner, Ryan. I'm an owner, and I come up to you, or rather, you're the owner, and I'm your GM, and I draft Josh Rosen, and I hire Steve Wilkes, and I give up on both of them the year after I drafted the quarterback and hired the head coach. Mm-hmm. And then I bring in Kyler Murray, and then I got Cliff Kingsbury. And I got this guy because of he's supposed to have this connection with Kyler Murray and these young quarterbacks. How are we talking about Kyler Murray and not talking about Cliff Kingsbury? That's my problem with people. They keep bringing up Kyler Murray and acting like he's some problem child. Maybe it's true, but we didn't hear about it until he wanted the money. Cliff Kingsbury got his. Keim got his. Kyler Murray is still waiting.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, Kyler Murray deserves his deal. Kyler Murray deserves his money. He deserves to be one of the higher paid quarterbacks in this league. He's done nothing but be more successful each and every year in his first 3 years in the league. But it's still a thing that Cliff Kingsbury wanted Kyler Murray. When Cliff Kingsbury was hired, he said he wanted Kyler Murray. It wasn't the other way around. It wasn't like Kyler Murray was there and then Cliff Kingsbury was brought in to make him a better quarterback. It wasn't one of those moves. And so in a sense, they're saying, and also, Stephen A., we have to remember this, deals don't get done in 2 days. If they've been working on an extension for Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, you don't hold that back because Kyler Murray is disgruntled.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that the rumors that came out during his desired negotiations is what I find shaky. And if you remember, Keim and Arizona was talking about Kyler Murray before Cliff Kingsbury got hired.
That's true. That's true.
All right, we got to go. RC, I just wanted to tell you this really quick because I know we have to go, Sam Tanucci. We're up against it. So Stephen A. used to snack on cheese doodles, and I used to eat bagels. And look at how we've improved here. We have grapes. This is his snack this morning. He's eating carrot sticks at 7 in the morning. I'm so proud of him. He's officially Hollywood. And I brought my green drink, and I did this in a hotel room. So I just want you to know we're trying out here.
Hey,
too,
you
okay?
guys going. That's because y'all in a great place with great weather, so y'all making sure y'all can wear y'all slim fits out there. I know what y'all
You're right.
doing.
I'm just,
You're right. Go into the pool later.
all I'm trying to do is look like Ryan Clark with a receding hairline. That's all I'm trying to do.
Bye,
That's all I'm trying
Ryan.
to do.
Have fun in
That's all I'm trying
Nassau.
to do.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right,
Joey,
yeah.
come on, first
What
take.
up?
He's back. Kevin Durant. It's official. He is going to play tonight. The Brooklyn Nets are hosting Miami. I cannot wait for that game. But can he lead the Nets to a title this season tonight? Yes, sir. Let's go. Versus the Heat after missing a month and a half because of a sprained MCL. Let's hear from the star.
I didn't want to play through pain. I still felt some pain in my knee throughout the losing streak, and obviously I know I can go out there and help, but I didn't want to hurt myself even more trying to go out there and be a superhero, just to be out there. But I'm glad that I was able to get some time to work on my body, and the training staff did a great job of working with me every day. And now I'm here and just see where I'm at after this game and just keep building from here.
The Nets are sure happy to get KD back as they've gone 5-16 and gone from 2nd to 8th in the East in his absence. That's a 5-16 record, is the 3rd worst in the league, only ahead of Stephen A's Knicks and the Rockets. Big Perk is back. Perk, riddle me this. Is there more pressure now on KD, or is it part-time Kyrie? We're hoping he'll become full-time to win a title this season.
Oh, the pressure is all the way on Kevin Durant. For the simple fact that, one, he's dealing with Kyrie, and he's staying by Kyrie all the time through everything that he does. Matter of fact, he's standing with Kyrie so much that they lost James Harden because of Kyrie Irving. So here's the thing when I look at KD. We have to start keeping the same energy that we do for LeBron James for Kevin Durant, because he plays a major role in the pieces that he has around him in Brooklyn, or to say so. To trade for James Harden and give up Karis LeVert and Jared Allen and whatever else they gave up, those picks to the Houston Rockets to get James Harden. Now to make the decision to trade James Harden and really decide between James Harden and to keep Kyrie Irving, we have to put that ownership on KD. And then last but not least, Stephen A., you brought up this point a while back about him leaving Golden State to go team up with Kyrie. Yes, the pressure is on Kevin Durant. The pressure is on Kevin Durant to deliver a title, because no matter how people may feel about it, whether it's right or wrong, and I'm not degrading anyone's championship, because whether you're on the super team or not, it is hard to win a championship. But it's always going to be said with his legacy for us, him winning that championship, is that he had to go join the team that beat him, that he had up 3-1, a 73-9 Warriors team.
This is one of those debates that we have, Kendrick Perkins, where I totally disagree with you without disagreeing with a single thing that you said. I have no problem with your information. We just draw the wrong conclusion about where the accountability lies. When we look at Kevin Durant, I've been on the record stating that if you don't win this year and Steph Curry does, you'll be viewed as the dude who left Steph Curry to join Kyrie Irving. So obviously, his mama didn't like that. My apologies. I don't want to upset Mama Durant at all. I never liked to upset her.
I didn't make Mama Durant mad.
I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I love her to death.
Me too.
Okay, you got Kevin Durant. I think he's the best in the world when healthy. It is what it is. But with this particular situation, for me, it's Kyrie Irving. Let's count the ways. Kevin Durant, regardless of what the hell he says, they won't go on to New York. You and I know that. Everybody know that. Kyrie, let's go to Brooklyn, make our own legacy. They go to Brooklyn. Kyrie only played 20 games the first year that KD was there, because KD obviously couldn't play at all, and Kyrie ultimately was down after 20 games. Kyrie is out. Then the pandemic hits. Then obviously they go through what they go through there and all of that stuff with the bubble and everything else, him encouraging people not to play in the bubble, all of this other stuff, all these headlines and everything else. Come back next season, all right? You go through next season, you get in the playoffs, yeah, you get hurt, all right? James Harden obviously got hurt with his hamstring as well. But when you were healthy and on the court with KD, y'all could have beat Milwaukee. We all assumed you were going to beat Milwaukee. Then we fast forward to this year. James Harden's there. Kevin Durant's there. You don't want to get vaccinated. As a result, the mandate comes down. We all think it's bogus that visitors should be allowed to play in the Barclays Center. But a guy for the home team like Kyrie Irving can't play at the Barclays Center. But the rule is the rule, the law is the law, and it is what it is, even though we think it's wrong. Everybody capitulated but Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. And so you did it without Kevin. You didn't do it. That left Kevin Durant hanging. That left James Harden hanging, et cetera, et cetera. Now here we are now. Y'all just made this move. You wasn't getting along with James Harden. He gets moved out of there. You there now in Brooklyn, okay? We know what Ben Simmons can do if he's on the court in terms of playmaking and defensive playability. We know what Seth Curry's job is. We know what Andre Drummond's job is.
Right.
And we fantasize about what all of those pieces can be with KD and Kyrie. The only reason KD was out is because KD's injured. If he ain't injured, KD playing all day, every day.
Right.
That's what he does. Kyrie, you never know. You got to sit in that tunnel, see that team bus roll up, and pray that he'll come out of it ready to ball. Because it's really that haphazard. When you see Milwaukee, Miami, Philadelphia, Chicago, and all of that going on, it comes down to Kyrie's availability. Period.
But
that's on him.
But that's why the pressure is on KD. Because he know who Kyrie is.
And he chose to rock with him? You mean that kind of
Yeah,
thing?
like he's rocking with him.
Yeah.
We all know, right?
Right.
Me and you both know that even when you talk about the coach, the coaching that went before they hired their coach, we know that Ty Lue could have possibly ended up in
That's
Brooklyn.
right. Listen, you going someplace. That's how you going someplace right
But
there.
we know why Ty Lue didn't end up in Brooklyn, right? Me and you both know that.
Yes.
Okay, so my thing is why is Kevin Durant defending Kyrie Irving so much? So since he have his brother back so much, the pressure is on you.
Hold on, listen. I'm not trying to absolve Kevin Durant at all. What I'm saying to you is that in the end, the inescapable element, that's the elephant in the room, is what you're going to do, Kyrie. What you going to do? You going to be there for your brother? You ready to do this? You ready to do what you convinced this brother to join your brother? Because we have to remind everybody, Kyrie has always been a showstopper. He's always been a spectacular player. The Brooklyn Nets didn't want Kyrie Irving. They wanted KD. They took Kyrie Irving because Kevin Durant had made it very, very clear that he and Kyrie were package deals before he arrived in Brooklyn. So the bottom line is that if you know all of that, I'm not saying you're wrong about what you're saying with KD. What I'm saying is, when do we look at Kyrie and say, all right, bro, this is about you and what you're willing to do and what decision you're willing to make for someone other than yourself.
What do you mean decision? Like get the vaccination right now?
No, I'm just saying one way or another, Molly, he's got to make sure that he is available 100% of the time, whatever it takes.
Molly, Stephen A., I got a question to ask y'all. If the Brooklyn Nets don't deliver a championship or at least make it to the finals, who's going to get the blame?
Wait. Is he playing full-time or part-time, though?
If he's playing full-time.
Okay.
If the Brooklyn Nets...
That's true. That's KD, no doubt. But what I'm saying to you is this. If he doesn't and they fall in the playoffs, everybody's going to be talking, Kyrie wasn't available.
Everybody's going to be talking... KD chose Kyrie over James
Harden.
Okay, over Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got you. I wasn't thinking about Harden. I wasn't thinking about Harden. I got you. I understand. But where that gets shaky, Molly,
Why?
and Perk, is this. We all knew, we always have known, Harden always wanted to be in Philadelphia the second that Daryl Morey arrived there. He just couldn't get there because Fertitta and those boys were not going to trade him to Daryl Morey after Daryl Morey abruptly left the Rockets organization. That's why Brooklyn was another option. He wasn't getting to Philly he wasn't getting to Philly directly from Houston because they were not going to do that.
But Brooklyn wasn't what he signed up for. And if
I agree with that.
Brooklyn was, and if they were truly a big three and we didn't see them play 16 times together in 2 years,
Right.
Maybe he would have changed his tune and been
Maybe.
like, hey, Philly was my
Maybe.
number one choice.
But he always wanted to be
But now I
with Daryl Morey.
Now I have a chance
Right.
to have a real legacy in
Go ahead.
Brooklyn.
No, but he had to change of heart. And this is why I counter you at. James Harden had to change of heart.
With what?
Where?
But because when he got to Brooklyn, remember,
Yeah.
this offseason,
Yeah.
it was supposed to go Kevin Durant signed, Kyrie, and then James. All of a sudden, Kyrie threw a wrench in everything, and James said, I wanted to test the water.
Time out. With Kyrie and all of that stuff is going on, the Brooklyn Nets wasn't trying to give him no damn
No,
extension.
but I know, but that was before the fact.
Okay.
But in the summertime, the plan was to have all three of those guys
Yes,
signed
that was the
before
plan.
the season
That
started.
absolutely was
so
the plan.
that meant,
No, you're right.
So that meant that James Harden was committed.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, we here.
Well, they say he was committed. Others say he really wasn't.
Hey, guess
You know
what?
that.
Guess who has the Eastern Conference Finals? We do. And they are going to be something
Philly and
special.
Brooklyn would be special, but I prefer one of those teams be South Beach.
I'm
Miami.
I'm
Oh,
happy
my
anyway.
God.
I'm-
Just go
I'm
to
happy.
South Beach on the weekends.
I'm
Okay,
happy
you just
anyway
want the best
because
basketball.
the East is finally better than the West.
I ain't
Hey,
gonna
can I
debate that.
tell you a
Better
secret?
basketball.
In June, weather's good everywhere. Go to the Jersey Shore, okay? It's not bad.
South Beach is
All
South
right,
Beach.
despite beating